Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. In today's First Impressions video, we are taking a look at the Lone Wolf Arms Dusk 19. And before we get this video started, I wanted to give a huge shout out and a welcome back to a long-loved channel sponsor, Seal One. I have been using their CLP and other cleaning products for years, long before the sponsorship, and I am so proud to rep Seal One here on the channel. If you haven't heard about them, they make a very bizarrely good smelling cleaning product for firearms. They make it in a paste format, liquid. They got aerosol. The paste and liquid are also non-toxic and bio-based. They got sub-zero stuff, so that way it's not going to freeze on you. They even have bow care products and cool new cleaning kits that you guys are going to be seeing probably in some of the B-roll of these ads very soon. If you guys want to order off of their website, I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it, because it does let them know that this ad helped get them a purchase and that it's worth continuing here on my channel. But they also are giving me a crazy discount code for you guys, and that is FF-25. FF-25 at checkout on their website. It gets you 25% off of your order. I did not see this pistol coming. I don't know. I've always known Lone Wolf Arms as their barrels, and that's kind of as far as I've ever gone with their company. And recently I was able to get hooked up with Lone Wolf Arms, and they were asking if I was interested in taking a look at anything on my channel. And I saw, actually previously, shout out to a very good buddy of mine, GB Guns. I saw his review on the Dusk 19 a while ago, and I was kind of interested to take a look at it, and here it is. So, of course, full disclosure, Lone Wolf did send me this pistol for free to check out, but they didn't ask me to do any sort of a positive review. They didn't pay me for the review or anything like that. And, of course, as always, I'm going to provide you my honest opinions about this pistol. I'm going to be upfront with you guys. I am about the farthest thing from a fan of Glock, semi-Glock, but not Glock pistols. That's just me. I have always been, maybe it's just the more FUD part of me coming out, if that is even a FUD thing, but I've always been just a fan of a stock Glock. I've always been kind of the mindset that, hey, the more you tinker around with the stock Glock, especially in the way of trigger components, the more it becomes either unsafe or unreliable. And that's just from my decade-long experience in the gun industry. That's just what I've seen. So I've always kind of stayed away. And I have still, even with that, kind of been interested at these Dusk 19 pistols, because Lone Wolf has kind of like a long track record of solid barrels in my experience, and I used to see their frames all the time. I'm like, okay, all right, their frames look pretty good, and you know, the price point is not bad on these pistols for what you are looking at. Right out of the box, you're looking at $699 for this pistol. And when you compare that to a brand spanking new Glock with no threaded barrel, no MOS cut, and no suppressor height sights or upgraded trigger, you're looking at not that much more for all this extra stuff. So that's pretty cool. That was interesting to me, and it really made me a little bit more apt to want to check it out. Have I been proven wrong, and is this pistol actually reliable, and how was it working at the range? I am proud to say that the gun was, for the most part, 100% reliable, which was cool to me. And also, it shot surprisingly well. I was very, very surprised with this pistol. Now, I got just one gripe immediately with Lone Wolf as soon as I opened the packaging. A little bit of a side note, the box and the presentation is excellent. I love this little like magnetic apple type flap to it. And then you got just a bunch of really nice cutouts. My OCD is just like really digging this whole setup. So Lone Wolf, good job on the box. You got a patch in there and all that good stuff. But this is not an unboxing video. I just wanted to talk about seeing the magazine choice for this gun. So all of a sudden I'm like, oh, cool. Oh man, did they use Glock mags? Oof. No, they didn't. They used KCI mags, the Korean Glock mag knockoffs. Guys, I just moving forward, you guys, I know it's probably a price thing, but just stick with either Magpul magazines or Glock factory mags, preferably Glock factory magazines, because my experience with Magpul magazines for Glock has been kind of hit or miss. But I can tell you with 100% certainty that Korean mags, you got about a 50-50 shot. It might work, it might not. Who knows? And I can just tell you that you're going to save yourself a lot of annoying warranty repair calls from people not understanding why their gun isn't working and all of these other things, or getting a sour taste in their mouth because the gun is not working when it is just that magazine. Did I experience a problem with the KCI magazines? Yes, I did. And it was actually the very first time I chambered the round at the range. I went up to the firing line, chambered a round in, pulled the trigger, and click, no bang. That's a little weird. I racked the round out, light primer strike. Okay, that's kind of strange. Now I want to run it exactly how it was out of box, so that was with a KCI mag. I racked another round in there, click, no bang. Weird, light primer strike. Dropped the round back into the chamber to see if maybe the primer was just recessed back a little bit or whatever, and same deal, click, no bang. Interesting. So I then put in a regular factory Gen 3 Glock magazine, racked around in, bang, 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 ripped the whole magazine, no problem at all. Ejection pattern was excellent, rounds on target, perfect, grouping great, the trigger felt awesome. I'm like, okay, that's a little strange. Maybe it was ammunition related. I took the other KCI magazine that was in the box and put that in there and racked around in, good to go. Ripped through the whole mag, did that same deal with Magpul magazines, and of course the Glock magazines had absolutely no issue. That one KCI mag, I popped it back in the gun and once again, racked around into the chamber, click, no bang, and it was essentially the magazine just perfectly messing with something in the fire control group where it was actually inhibiting the striker from moving all the way forward and hitting the primer hard enough to make it go bang. Don't ask me how it was doing that because I really don't know, but for whatever reason, that magazine was doing that in this pistol. Now, of course, super easy fix. Not the end of the world. Glock 19 magazines are plentiful and they are all over the place. So it's not a huge deal, but that is just a side note that, hey, choosing a good quality magazine is going to prevent any sort of saltiness if somebody gets the pistol out of the box and it doesn't work. With the other magazines, Glock magazines, 100% reliable. The Magpul magazine was, for the most part, 100%, but there was one time where I bumped the bottom of the magazine and I had the same thing where it hit the primer but not hard enough. Same thing that I was doing with the one KCI mag. So I would say when in doubt with this pistol, just stick with Glock mags and you're going to be 100% fine. That's exactly what my experience was with this pistol. Now, as far as shootability at the range, I really, really enjoyed it. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Now, they give you out of the box kind of this straight look backstrap that just almost curves inward, and that for me was twofold: not comfortable, and then also I was not a terribly huge fan of the way that it made the frame look. It looked super large up top and then just kind of weird and tiny in the bottom. It didn't flow right. The kind of bumped up backstrap there is excellent and it's super comfortable in the hand, and I think it does actually make the look really good on the frame. I don't have any issues with the way that this looks, and again, for my hand, my comfort, that did a much better job. So I would just simply throw that on out of the box, and I think you're going to have a much better experience. As far as texture on the frame, it's excellent. I have no complaints there. They beef out the frame in just the right areas where it's going to provide a good solid grip, good texture, especially on that front strap there. And I did notice a little bit of slipping in the hot heat out there in a very humid Pennsylvania summer day. I'm probably going to wrap a little bit of goon tape around there like I always do, but in this case, it does a very good job of soaking up that sweat and making the pistol stick into your hand a little bit more. You got these really nice aggressive gas pedal cuts up here on the front, and that's a great indexing point for the safe spot of your trigger finger. And then again, it's also a great gas pedal spot for the pistol. And I found that in rapid fire with the gun, it does a really good job at keeping that muzzle down. You are going to have a night vision suppressor height sights. These sights, no complaints there. They did exactly what I would love to see on every pistol, which is a high visibility front sight and a blacked out rear sight. That is what I absolutely love on whatever pistol that I have aftermarket sights on. So no complaints there whatsoever. And they were great sights at the range. Didn't really have any complaints about them. They're pretty basic, just standard suppressor height Glock sights. Now, they do have this optics cut. I am assuming that this is an RMR optics cut. I could be completely wrong there. Unfortunately, I didn't see that in the manual. I might have looked over it, and it's probably on their website, and I'm sure that information is out there. Lone Wolf, please correct me in the comments section if I'm wrong on that. But to me, it just looks like a regular RMR cut, which is perfectly fine for something like this. I think most people out there are going to be running either a Holosun or an RMR when you're looking at actual duty type use on a pistol. This particular model comes with a Lone Wolf threaded barrel. It is 1/2 by 28. You got a nice thread protector on there, and you know what? I noticed at the range, surprisingly, that this actually stayed pretty tight without the need of an additional O-ring. So not really too much to beat there. That's excellent, because normally a lot of the thread protectors just fly right off. You got some nice speed cuts there. Probably going to help out a little bit as the gun continues to get carboned up. It's just going to aid in a little bit of that carbon kind of just being in an area that's not going to stop the slide. But I think also the primary reason for those cuts is aesthetics. And overall aesthetics on the gun are pretty good. You got an extended slide release. Some people are going to like that. Some people are going to hate that. I did notice that unlike a lot of Glocks that have the extended slide release that you're always just riding on, because they kind of beveled out this area around the slide release, I found myself at no point in time with a standard modern thumbs forward grip riding that slide release. So that is super cool. Really like that, and it did aid a lot in reloading the pistol. So I had no complaints about that whatsoever. You do have a Gen 4 style mag release there. So again, no complaints. They did do a really nice job in the frame getting out the material that's around there so that it's still good for carry. You're not going to be bumping that, but it's really nice for swapping out that mag. You got a really easy ability to get to the mag release. The frame is undercut underneath the trigger guard. Not too much. I think it's a perfect amount of undercut to where you can really choke up on the pistol, but it is not overkill to where you're almost getting like flex in the freaking trigger guard and other things like that. You got a standard accessory rail on the front, but something that was interesting that I'm not sure exactly why they did this, but the FF Pocket Gunsmith just kind of noticed it and pointed it out. The front pick slot is actually slightly tinier than the rear pick slot. I don't know if that's just to aid in different lights that are out there on the market, but I just noticed a little interesting attention to detail. The serrations on the slide are excellent. No complaints there. Grabs your hand well, not slippery. They're sharp right where they need to be, and the overall presentation of the slide is flawless. I really enjoy that slide quite a bit. We have to talk about trigger. This trigger reminds me quite a bit like a Canic Elite trigger. It's specifically the ones where they comboed with Salient to do their trigger, and this feels very, very similar in how that trigger was on the Canic. And I gotta say, that trigger is probably one of the best on the market for an out-of-box striker-fired pistol. But you got barely any take up here. You still have a little bit of creep, little tiny bit of creep, and then your break. So you'll notice it kind of jumps a little bit there. Your reset right there, and your brake again. You're right on the brake after that reset. And out of box, I'm like, ooh, that is a little quick for a Glock. That is always making me nervous just because, again, I have had so many bad experiences with aftermarket Glock triggers. In this case, they did a very good job. Again, I want to mention that apprehensive kind of aspect of my initial impressions of the gun because I think many others out there feel that way. Everyone has seen those parts and things malfunction, and in this case, it was 100% reliable. There was at no point, like my experience with other triggers out there, that inadvertently start bumping off way more than you want to when it shouldn't, and it becomes a little bit of a horrifying experience, and also issues with being drop safe. None of those issues were present on this trigger. I think it's still absolutely defensive use worthy, and I don't know that you would have any issues carrying this pistol at all. I did not try Glock holsters that I have, but I will be trying that in the future to see exactly what holsters this is going to fit. But I believe from Lone Wolf that they're saying this is going to fit all your standard Glock holsters. So overall, first impressions of the Dusk 19 were very, very good. I would say I'd have no hesitation purchasing this pistol. It was excellent at the range. You gotta just stick with Glock magazines for 100% die-hard reliability. I'm going to continue to shoot this pistol, see how it performs down the road, and of course, keep you guys updated along the way. If you have any other questions about this gun or anything else on the channel, please throw them down below in the comment section. I absolutely will get back to you. While you're down there, head up to the description for the ways to support the channel, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos coming soon.